Hey everybody, this is Grace. In this video, I want to talk a little bit about, we'll give it a little update on, to start off with, one thing. And you know how I mentioned this in another, I think 2 videos, about the memes that are blaming the victim kind of memes. You know, like, why did you stay so long? You know, I learned in school, in college, university, that the question is not, why didn't she leave him? The question is, what in our society makes him think he can do it and get away with it? Okay, I mentioned this before. It could be the other way around too. Anyway, but yeah, you know, these days we're having more and more, I'm seeing it more and more often, where people are blaming the victim. Even, you know, people who make videos, or they just put up the memes, or they make their own subject, they are saying that the victim somehow is wrong for what happened. You know, they talk about taking accountability. To me, whenever somebody says that, that makes me wonder about that person. It really does. You know, raises an eyebrow, although I can't do that, raise one eyebrow. My own experience, just a little FYI, a little side note, is that people who raise that one eyebrow, who do it easily, do it often, are people who are rather narcissistic. Seriously. They raise that one eyebrow. And it's usually whenever you're talking about something that is not about them, you know, you're talking about something that's all about you, maybe something going on in your life for a change, and they don't want to listen to it, and they wonder, when are you going to stop talking? And they raise that eyebrow. Okay, yeah, that's just a little side note there. But yeah, I want to talk about this. When people are healing, this is my personal opinion, read the disclaimer below this video on YouTube, but my personal opinion is when somebody's healing, they don't need to hear things, or they're healing, or they're trying to get out of a bad situation with somebody who's, you know, narcissistic or toxic or abusive. However, they don't really need to hear somebody telling them that they are all at fault. It's all their fault. They did wrong. They should have done this. They should have done that. You know, seriously, that's not something that's not encouraging. It's blaming that victim. That victim is not responsible for somebody victimizing them. I'm saying, you know, many of us who are not narcissistic at all, we might ask ourselves that question in our own mind, but that's where it needs to stay. You know, of why didn't she leave him? Why didn't he leave her? Why didn't he leave him or her? Whatever it is. Why didn't that person listen to me when I warned them? You know, these are judgments, and these are statements they don't need to hear. Keep it in your mind. Keep it in your own brain. Don't go around spreading it and talking behind their back or telling them that. Yeah, that's not helping, that's hurting. Okay, but no, you know, too many people think that that's somehow helpful. Or maybe they're not even thinking, you know, to shame and blame the victim of something. Maybe they're not thinking at all. Maybe this is what they've heard from other people. Or maybe they're just abusive themselves. Okay? And it could be that sometimes in a crisis situation, people don't act like they usually do, you know. They may be not at all abusive, usually. But in a crisis situation, they may say things that they are not pausing to think. So, and it's not the same thing. It's not always, oh, they're narcissistic because they do this. Yeah. It could be something else. And another thing I've mentioned before, and I'm seeing so much of this, it's kind of like when you buy a new car, you see the same color, random car on the road all of a sudden, you see a lot of them. Well, this one is about, similar, you know, to that kind of thing. Once I was talking about, and that is of, this one is when people diagnose people in their lives. Now, that's another thing. You might be doing it in your head, but leave it there. Don't go around telling everybody, oh, that person's a covert narcissist. Like, you know, and I mean, even if you were that person's counselor, you wouldn't go around telling people about it. So, yeah. Okay, now I've seen this online, like in groups or whatever, that people will say, say something about their relationship. Say it's a woman saying with her relationship with her boyfriend or her husband, and it doesn't sound good. Then the next thing you see, a lot of people saying, well, that's a covert narcissist and you need to leave him. Not only are they diagnosing with just what the woman wrote, but they're also giving advice. Okay, and to me that would be like they're saying it with some kind of authority. Now that person might be very, at the state, maybe they're right then having a bad situation with their boyfriend or husband, and they're not in a state to be able to think clearly enough, maybe, possibly, or they are kind of gullible right now. And somebody makes this kind of statement, and then they say the same thing. They go around telling people, people should not diagnose and then give advice over the internet. Seriously, I wouldn't even say that if somebody is a licensed counselor, and that's the only, this is my opinion, that's the only way that they've met that person. There are certain situations, like somebody has agoraphobia and they're just not there yet to walk outside of their home. Been there, done that twice in my life, when I was 28 and when I was 33. I'm 55 now. So yeah, I can understand there are different situations, exceptions to every rule kind of thing, but other than that, why? Okay, but there's also this of people developing a sense of arrogance about it, that they have superior knowledge because they've listened to some videos, and then therefore they can go around diagnosing people that they just met, read their little paragraph about what happened in their lives and diagnosing the other person. And there's an arrogance behind that. Well, arrogance is kind of a little bit of a symptom of somebody who's narcissistic. Well, we're all in a way arrogant. And I think at times arrogant until you find out you're wrong. But some of the people who are this kind of arrogant, they never find out they're wrong, because to them they're never wrong. Some of them. But this type, yeah, that's what they would do. They're never wrong. Never wrong. Okay, and people who do this should stop for a moment and think about that other person who's actually in that situation and what you're telling them. That person might think, okay, I should listen to this person. They seem knowledgeable, and I need to leave. Well, right at that moment might be the worst time for that. Seriously. Some people, are in a very abusive relationships, and if they try to leave, that's when something really bad happens. That's not up to you, just anybody at random to say, and to have that arrogance to say it. Me, I would question what type of person wouldn't, doubt their own superiority, their own superior knowledge, their own ability they might feel it's kind of like they're right, that everybody should listen to them, and they say, that's a covert narcissist, leave. What kind of person would do that? That's actually more than one, right? Yeah, right. Okay, I think that's enough. I'm glad you enjoyed the ride with me. Oh boy, what a day. But if you want to subscribe to, I'm going to wrap it up. If you want to subscribe to this channel, you can click the circle icon that pops up. You want to watch another video on this channel, you can click one of those rectangles that pop up. Like, subscribe, comment if you feel comfortable, and I'll talk to you on another video. Bye.